everybody. This is Piper Harris with Poema Women's Success Coaching. I hope that this Sunday is finding you doing well. This is another installment of my videos I'm hoping to share during this COVID crisis. So, to listen is to lead. So, keeping myself and my family on track is really, truly rooted in our faith. It's foundational for us, it's key for us. So today we cozied up on the couch in the nooks and crannies of our couch and we listened into our church. So before I go any further, I do want to say that if you don't prescribe to faith, I want to invite you to join my church family. It's North Point Ministries here in Atlanta, led by Andy Stanley. If it's not your thing, that's okay. And I just ask that you please continue to listen. Yes, faith is a vital part of my life, and I'm going to be sharing that more and more with you, but I hope that you can have ears to listen, especially based on today's topic. So we are all seeing right now that we are desperate for leadership in our organizations, in our homes, in our schools, in healthcare. I mean, leadership is at the forefront of our nation. Listening to my pastor today, listening to Andy today, he especially talked about what leadership looks like during COVID. And it was just how the morning went was very interesting. A lot of times we hear things, we are hearing, but we're not listening. And so we got done with church service and I, of course, cracked that proverbial whip. I gave the orders to the children and the husband that this is what we're going to do. We're going to deep clean and we're going to bleach every surface. And so as I was telling my husband, this is the plan for our day, he stopped me and he said, babe, it would be really nice if you would ask me, like, what should our plan be today, rather than bark those orders at me. And my response, my initial response right away was, that's not what I'm doing. We do this every weekend, so this isn't different. And right in that moment, and I'm sure you all have had this moment with friends or partners or whatever, I saw this look spread over his face and it quickly disappeared. And honestly, it was a gift. He was giving a gift to me. And that gift was he was setting his feelings and how I made him feel aside to avoid an argument. And honestly, that is honestly when it dawned on me that I'm not leading my family through these formalized schedules and this massive cleaning through this pandemic. Not entirely, at least. I mean, that is part of my ability to lead my family. But the most important and deeply meaningful way that I can lead my family, my clients, by you, I believe all of us are called to lead. No matter what station we have in life, we are called to lead. But the best way I can lead is by listening. So it's really interesting just kind of thinking about that today, digging into this a little bit. What happens is the closer that we are with individuals, which we're very close to people right now during COVID and our isolation, all of that, the closer that we are with individuals, the more likely we are not to listen carefully to them. So this is called the closeness communication bias. And really, essentially, what that means is we automatically assume that we know what someone's going to say. We know what they're thinking. So you, I'm sure, can think of a time where your spouse, maybe my husband's known for this, he's a Southern man, he tells some long stories. So if you're Southern, we all know you love your stories. And he'll just be telling a story and I'm like, oh my gosh, hurry up, finish, I want to go to bed, or I just stop, and I'll cut him off because I'm assuming I know exactly what he's going to say. I'm assuming, this is what he's thinking, this is what he's going to say. And you might be running into that situation right now, leading your organization. I know that a lot of our leaders are struggling with the balance of how do I keep my organization afloat? How do I help my employees? How do I help my family? There's just so many unknowns. And so in the midst of that, you might have an employee that comes to you and they're speaking, and rather than truly listening, you automatically go into that closeness communication bias and you assume you know what's going on. So this absolutely hit me square between the eyes today with my husband, that the closeness communication bias was really standing in the way of me leading my family. And I know when I reflected on it a little bit more that it has gotten in the way of, my friends and even with clients. Because here's the thing with the closest communication bias, we're going to see this a lot more right now that we're in our homes and we're being quarantined, all of those things. It is going to stymie those conversations, halt those conversations that we desperately need right now, that closeness that we desperately need right now. And what's really interesting, I was thinking about this closest communication bias, is that technology is fabulous. Thank God we have technology right now, right? So you can see me, I can see you. I have video conferencing. I can see friends from all over the world. So it's a wonderful gift. But the problem with this gift as well is that we have to really listen. We have to recognize that confirmation bias can come through this technology as well. So psychologically speaking, we all know we're going to change through COVID. I know I've seen articles written already. My husband and I have had a lot of conversations that things won't be the same after this. Um, psychologically speaking, this can have damaging effects on who we are today. It can have damaging effects on how we cope for tomorrow and how we see our future. But here's the thing. It can also grow us and strengthen us and create a greater resilience. And in that, to lead is to listen. So knowing all of this, knowing you and I all have this closeness communication bias, and it's going to kick in. It's going to kick in as we're in our homes together, we're frustrated, all of these things are going on. But it is so very important that we truly listen, that we're aware of this closeness communication bias, and that we lead individuals through listening. Andy this morning through service was talking a lot about leadership, and that it really talks about that leadership is really not leading from the front. And I know we've seen a lot of those different memes, but it's leading from the back. It's leading from saying, I'm going to give of all my resources because I know you don't have those resources. And that doesn't just have to be monetarily. You might be in a position right now where you're like, Piper, I don't have resources to give to people. I don't know why you think I'm a leader. I'm not a leader. I can't think about that right now. I have X, Y, and Z I have to figure out. And I understand that. I'm stressed out. I have those same concerns. But we do all have a resource that we can freely give to individuals in our life. And it's truly listening. It's being aware of this closeness communication bias and, taking a breath, thinking clearly, setting aside what we're assuming the individual is going to say, and truly listening to someone. Listening is leading. It really is. And right now, if you feel like you just can't lead anything, listen. Just truly, truly listen. Yes, continue to give of your resources to our communities right now, 100%, supporting our health professionals, anybody on the front lines. Yes, continue to, give your employees those raises, the time off, anything that you can, those physical, tangible resources. But let me ask you, what if giving of this resource, listening, what if you gave that? It's something we can all give. What if you gave that right now? Set aside this closeness confirmation bias and truly listened. That's a gift all of us can give to one another right now. So I challenge you today, sit down with someone and truly ask them, how are you? What do you need from me? And listen. Don't let your mind wander off. Set your phone down. Don't assume you know what this person needs. Just listen. Don't assume what your partner needs, your husband needs, your child needs. Don't assume, like I did today, that my schedule and frenzied cleaning is how I'm going to lead and give peace to my family. Don't assume that because you're the leader and title of your organization, that people will just follow. To truly have people follow any of us is to give this free gift. I feel it so deeply today that to lead is to listen. So think about that today as you're entering in to our next week, our work week. We have a lot ahead of us. Managing homeschooling. I don't know about you guys, but boy, that's a lot to think about. Managing our staff, managing our businesses, managing so much, managing, God forbid, a sick loved one. The gift you can give, you might feel so depleted, so alone, so frenzied, so stressed out, so anxious, so fearful. You might be feeling all of those things, and all of us are. But just consider you do have something that you can give. You have an amazing resource that you can give to anyone. And by giving this resource, freely giving this resource, you are leading individuals in your life, regardless if you're the CEO, regardless if you're a mom with a crying a baby on her knee, regardless of who you are. If you truly give the gift of listening, being aware of this closeness communication bias, wow, we can really create tremendous change in people's lives. Maybe it's just for a moment, but that's a moment that you can give to someone. So I hope this finds you all well this Sunday. I'm Piper Harris with Poema Women's Success Coaching. Thanks so much for joining me today through this series of Caring Through COVID videos. I hope to keep in touch with you all. If you have any questions about me, what I do as a coach, please head over to piperharris.net. I'd love to spend some time with you. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to learn and grow from one another. So I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much again for joining me today, and I'll talk to you again very soon.